The Moon, Earth's closest celestial companion, has long been a focal point of scientific inquiry, yet numerous enigmas enshroud this rocky satellite. Despite extensive study, debates persist regarding its age, internal structure, formation, and intricate relationship with our planet. In a captivating revelation during a public address in the 1980s, a retired NASA scientist unveiled a startling perspective on the Moon, challenging the conventional notion of it as a desolate, unchanging entity. Contrary to the prevailing belief in the Moon's arid and lifeless nature sustained over billions of years, the scientist asserted that there is far more complexity and dynamism at play than meets the eye. What was once perceived as a dormant world, frozen in time, now emerges as a celestial body harboring intriguing traces of activity, shattering preconceived notions about its nature and history. In an astonishing disclosure, the speaker not only challenged the traditional understanding of the Moon but asserted that it is, in fact, inhabited by intelligent life. The lunar landscape, as described, teems with mysterious structures, domes, towering spires reaching staggering heights, transmitting towers dotting the extraterrestrial terrain, and meticulously crafted geometric constructions. The presence of discernible vehicle tracks and evidence of machinery hinted at the existence of a full-scale mining operation, suggesting that the Moon is not merely a passive satellite but a site of active industry. What further intrigued the audience was the speaker's emphasis on the profound mathematical knowledge displayed by the enigmatic builders of these lunar structures. The precision and intricacy of the designs hinted at a level of mathematical expertise beyond human comprehension, prompting contemplation about the origins and capabilities of the entities responsible for transforming the Moon into a celestial canvas of architectural marvels and technological sophistication. The clandestine mysteries of the Moon's dark side came to light during a covert mission undertaken by NASA. From 1966 to 1967, the space agency dispatched a fleet of 5 highly advanced lunar orbiter satellites tasked with orbiting and photographing the lunar surface. Outfitted with cutting-edge camera equipment boasting the capability to discern minute details, even purportedly capable of reading a gum wrapper on a street from the vastness of space, their primary mission was to identify potential landing sites for upcoming crewed lunar missions. Startlingly, according to the same authoritative speaker, one of these lunar probes, the Lunar Orbiter 2, encountered a malfunction that altered its trajectory, leading it to land on the Moon's hidden dark side. In the fleeting moments before succumbing to the impact, the compromised orbiter transmitted a jaw-dropping revelation: a clandestine lunar base occupied by colossal spacecraft vehicles. This unexpected twist added a layer of intrigue to the lunar exploration narrative, hinting at concealed activities and structures on the Moon that had, until then, eluded both public knowledge and official acknowledgement. While resembling the plot twists of a science fiction novel, the astonishing became reality in 2011 when NASA scientists declared a breakthrough: the discovery of the crash site of Lunar Orbiter 2 on the elusive dark side of the Moon. This revelation added a tangible layer to the speculative narrative, validating the earlier accounts of the orbiter's unexpected descent onto the lunar surface. Turning attention to the lunar landscape, the Aristarchus crater emerges as a focal point of intrigue. Despite its prominence as a subject of discussion, a curious anomaly persists. The available images from this region are frequently marred by smudges or obscured entirely, presenting as a perplexing whiteout devoid of discernible detail. This enigma surrounding Aristarchus crater only deepens the veil of mystery, shrouding certain lunar features and inviting speculation and curiosity about what might be concealed beneath the obscured surface. The Aristarchus crater stands out as an extraordinary lunar feature, defying the conventional characteristics of an average crater. Its encircling wall, while approximately circular, takes on a somewhat polygonal form, adding a distinctive geometric complexity to its structure. Remarkably, this crater has been identified as the origin of nearly half of reported transient lunar phenomena, ephemeral events encompassing temporary obscurations and colorations. Moreover, Aristarchus has been scientifically verified as a source of gaseous emissions, contributing to the dynamic lunar landscape. What captivates researchers and observers alike is the crater's central feature, a symmetrical, dome-like structure that commands attention. This central prominence not only possesses a striking visual symmetry but also exhibits a breathtaking, electric blue, color glow, radiating an ethereal luminosity that illuminates the surrounding lunar expanse. The phenomenon hints at the presence of some form of plasma energy emanating from the dome, casting Aristarchus crater as a captivating celestial spectacle. Notably, the existence of both the dome and the mesmerizing electric blue glow has garnered confirmation from multiple independent researchers, adding a layer of credibility to the mystifying allure of this lunar anomaly. A captivating mystery surrounds Aristarchus crater, with some researchers postulating that it could be a fusion reactor or some form of advanced power device. Divergent theories abound, all united by the common thread of attributing the luminous phenomenon to a potent energy source. What adds an extra layer of peculiarity to this celestial spectacle is the apparent modulation of the effect, suggesting a deliberate switching on and off by some unknown mechanism. Even the legendary astronaut Neil Armstrong found himself drawn into the intrigue. On July 19, 1969, as the Apollo 11 command module orbited the Moon, reports from amateur astronomers reached Mission Control in Houston, Texas, detailing transient phenomena in the vicinity of Aristarchus crater. Armstrong, in a unique position to investigate, gazed out of his spacecraft window towards the Earth-lit region. What he witnessed was a sight that defied conventional explanation, an area significantly more illuminated than its surroundings. Armstrong's first-hand account added an astronaut's perspective to the enigma, fueling speculation about the nature and origins of the luminous anomalies surrounding Aristarchus crater. The notion of an active moon posed a potential threat to NASA's vested interests, especially with a $25 billion program at stake. Acknowledging the existence of an unknown, unpredictable, and uncontrollable threat beneath the moon's surface could jeopardize the entire mission. Consequently, there was a strategic inclination within NASA to downplay such possibilities. Even though numerous sightings of the electric blue lights had been reported by reputable astronomers, popular science magazines dismissed these occurrences as mere illusions. The prevailing narrative sought to maintain a sense of predictability and control over the lunar environment, aligning with the interests of a space agency navigating unprecedented exploration endeavors. However, a seismic shift occurred in the mid-1990s, dramatically altering the perception of these enigmatic lunar phenomena. The events that unfolded during this period would force a reconsideration of the dismissive stance, compelling a re-evaluation of the mysteries concealed within the Moon's shadowy realm. A pivotal moment in unraveling the mysteries of Aristarchus crater occurred on April 23, 1994, when over 100 amateur astronomers observed a notable 40-minute darkening near the crater's edge. The intrigue deepened as, simultaneously, the lunar satellite Clementine was engaged in mapping the very same area. Bonnie Barati, a principal scientist at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, JPL, seized the opportunity to scrutinize the Clementine data upon learning of this anomaly. Barati's meticulous analysis revealed a groundbreaking revelation, which she shared at a meeting of the American Astronomical Society in Padua, Italy. The color of Aristarchus had undeniably undergone a change on the specified date, validating the eyewitness accounts of the darkening phenomenon. This development marked a significant breakthrough in understanding the dynamic nature of Aristarchus crater. Moreover, it was established that Aristarchus exhibited an unusual glow in the blue, violet, and ultraviolet range, confirming the prior reports of electric blue lights associated with the crater. The enigmatic luminosity of Aristarchus had not only been substantiated but had also experienced a notable intensification, reaching a significant peak on October 2, 1955, further deepening the intrigue surrounding this lunar anomaly. A crucial facet in unraveling the mysteries of Aristarchus crater lies in the profound emissions observed in the blue to ultraviolet range of the spectrum, mainly emanating from hydrogen plasma. In a comprehensive report jointly conducted by Russian and NASA researchers, documented evidence substantiates the presence of potent and fluctuating emissions in the H and K spectrums. The significance of these emissions is underscored by the well-known wavelengths of the lines in the Balmer series and other series within the hydrogen spectrum. These lines precisely describe the spectral line emissions of the hydrogen atom, providing a detailed map of the elemental constituents at play. Notably, The K-spectrum emissions, as indicated by the University of Kentucky, are associated with ionized plasma, shedding light on the intricate nature of the luminous phenomena surrounding Aristarchus crater. This insight into the spectral characteristics adds a layer of scientific understanding to the peculiarities of the crater's emissions, offering a glimpse into the unique interplay of elements that contribute to its captivating glow. The elucidation of the hydrogen spectrum stands as a paramount litmus test for any theory of electronic structure, and in scrutinizing the graphs, Aristarchus crater appears to effortlessly pass this test with distinction. Delving into the extensive body of physics papers dedicated to the K-spectrum, though dense in content, yields a coherent summary. These scholarly works consistently expound on phenomena related to ionized plasma, cosmic radiation, and electron emissions. In the case of Aristarchus, a comprehensive review of these papers unveils definitive evidence of emissions in both the K and H spectra. What emerges is a nuanced picture. Intermittent emissions with varying intensities have been meticulously recorded, adding layers of complexity to the understanding of Aristarchus crater's unique electronic structure. The intermittent and diverse nature of these emissions invites further exploration, prompting scientists to delve deeper into the celestial mechanisms at play within this lunar enigma. The H and K spectra observed in Aristarchus, akin to those of the Sun, raise intriguing parallels, as these spectra are typical signatures associated with a fusion reactor, the very identity of our Sun. While the evidence doesn't definitively categorize Aristarchus as a fusion reactor, the compelling indications strongly lean in that direction. The enigmatic nature of Aristarchus, coupled with the distinct possibility of it being a fusion reactor, adds a layer of excitement to the ongoing investigation. The most captivating elements lie in the appearance and coloration of this potential reactor. The distinctive features observed in Aristarchus, particularly the vivid electric blue glow, serve as compelling markers. Contemplating a closer examination of the crater fuels speculation that there might be more revelations hidden within. However, the enigma deepens, suggesting that when the Aristarchus reactor is dormant or off, the lunar landscape may appear deceptively ordinary, concealing the extraordinary celestial activity beneath the surface. This nuanced perspective underscores the dynamic and intermittent nature of the lunar anomaly, presenting Aristarchus as a cosmic enigma waiting to be unraveled. For the sake of simplicity, the more intricate physics papers have been set aside, yet their collective consensus points to a singular conclusion. The H and K spectra, akin to emissions from the Sun, are recurring signatures in various known fusion reactors. This includes demonstrations from the Z machine, a renowned fusion reactor situated at Sandia's Forefront facility in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Additionally, these spectra manifest in experiments with the tokamak, an experimental machine engineered to unlock fusion energy. Lawrence Livermore laser-produced plasma tests and the electron beam ion trap, integral components in fusion experiments, also showcase the same H and K spectra. The convergence of evidence from diverse sources, ranging from cutting-edge fusion reactors to experimental fusion technologies, strengthens the case for Aristarchus sharing characteristics with known fusion processes. This parallel in emissions underscores the potential fusion reactor-like nature of Aristarchus, aligning with the established patterns observed in advanced scientific endeavors on Earth. Contrary to conventional expectations, the emissions observed from Aristarchus crater align closely with the distinctive H and K spectra associated with fusion reactors. This unexpected correlation is substantiated by both visual observations and meticulously measured data, unequivocally establishing the presence of these emissions. Examining a spectrum of examples, including the Z machine, the tokamak, Lawrence Livermore laser-produced plasma tests, and the electron beam ion trap, all recognized fusion reactors, reveals a consistent pattern. The H and K spectra, indicative of fusion processes, are a recurring theme in these controlled experiments on Earth. Astonishingly, Aristarchus crater, a lunar feature, exhibits the same telltale emissions, defying conventional expectations for celestial bodies. In light of this compelling evidence, the conclusion becomes straightforward: Aristarchus crater functions as a fusion reactor. The convergence of data from disparate sources and the alignment with established patterns in fusion technology on Earth substantiate this groundbreaking assertion, challenging preconceived notions about the lunar landscape and opening new avenues for understanding the celestial phenomena occurring within Aristarchus crater. To unravel additional anomalies surrounding Aristarchus crater, numerous sources advocate focusing on the ultraviolet range rather than infrared, a revelation that has reportedly been in NASA's awareness for an extended period. A pivotal historical example underscores this perspective. In 1911, Professor Robert W. Wood pioneered ultraviolet photography to explore Aristarchus crater. His findings revealed an intriguing region to the crater's north, suggesting the presence of a sulfur deposit. Notably, the plateau itself exhibited an anomalous appearance when viewed in the ultraviolet spectrum. This early foray into ultraviolet exploration hinted at the potential for uncovering hidden features and unique characteristics within Aristarchus that elude detection in other wavelengths. The emphasis on ultraviolet analysis as a key to unveiling concealed aspects of Aristarchus crater aligns with a historical precedent, setting the stage for continued exploration and discovery in this enigmatic lunar expanse. The Hubble Advanced Camera for Surveys has captured visual and ultraviolet images of Aristarchus crater, shedding further light on its unique characteristics. Analysis of these images has unveiled remarkably abundant concentrations of ilmenite ore within the crater. Ilmenite, a mineral abundant in Aristarchus, holds significant promise as a potential oxygen carrier. The rich presence of this mineral suggests a valuable resource that could be harnessed by a future moon base for oxygen extraction. This finding not only adds a practical dimension to the study of Aristarchus crater but also contributes to our understanding of its potential utility in supporting future lunar exploration and habitation endeavors. The dual perspectives from visual and ultraviolet imaging offer a comprehensive view of the crater's composition, emphasizing its significance beyond its mysterious luminous phenomena. In a significant observation during the Apollo 15 mission in 1971, a pronounced increase in alpha particles was noted as the spacecraft passed 110 kilometers above the Aristarchus plateau. These particles were identified as stemming from the decay of radon-222, a byproduct of uranium decay. Subsequently, the Lunar Prospector mission launched in 1998 corroborated and verified the emissions of radon-222 from Aristarchus crater. The detected rise in alpha particles could be attributed to discrete explosive events or the gradual and visually imperceptible diffusion of gas to the lunar surface. This dual possibility introduces intriguing dynamics to the understanding of Aristarchus, suggesting a complex interplay of geological processes and emissions that contribute to the dynamic lunar environment within and around the crater. The combination of data from both the Apollo and Lunar Prospector missions provides a multifaceted glimpse into the intricate lunar phenomena associated with Aristarchus crater. The question of whether Aristarchus crater exhibits conscious awareness adds a layer of speculation to the lunar mysteries. Intriguingly, there are curious correlations in observed phenomena that suggest a potential link to human presence. During Apollo 15's passage in 1971, a discernible increase in alpha particle emissions was noted above the Aristarchus plateau. Similarly, reports indicate a sudden brightening of the crater when the Apollo 11 astronauts passed over it. These unexpected reactions to human presence raise intriguing questions about the nature of Aristarchus and its potential responsiveness to external stimuli. In his book, Penetration, Ingo Swann recounted an unusual experience in 1975 when the government tasked him with viewing specific coordinates on the Moon. Swann, a remote viewer, described seeing substantial tractor-type tread marks within minutes, an observation that seemed incongruous with the conventional understanding of the Moon. These revelations hint at the possibility of intentional or engineered activities within or near Aristarchus crater, inviting speculation about its role and significance in the context of lunar exploration and potential extraterrestrial interactions. In another set of coordinates provided to Ingo Swann, he reported a peculiar sighting of a crater emitting an unusual green haze or light. Adding to the mystery, 2 rows of lights were observed higher up on the crater's banks. Initially assuming he was viewing an object on Earth, Swann attempted to terminate the session, but he was assured that what he was witnessing was, indeed, located on the Moon. Encouraged to continue the viewing, Swan reported additional tractor tread marks that seemed to be widespread. Notably, along the crater's edge, Swan described the presence of a remarkably tall tower, towering as high as the Secretariat building at the United Nations, an imposing structure with 39 floors. This unexpected and substantial observation raises questions about the nature of lunar structures and activities, presenting a complex tableau that extends beyond conventional perceptions of the Moon's barren and lifeless surface. The detailed accounts from Swan's remote viewing sessions contribute to the ongoing enigma surrounding Aristarchus crater and its potential role in lunar mysteries. In Swan's detailed accounts, he went on to describe a complex scene resembling a mining operation on the Moon. The imagery included domes, tubes, bridges, nets, and structures reminiscent of houses. This depiction raises intriguing questions about the possibility of a significant and ongoing mining endeavor beneath the lunar surface. The notion of a massive lunar mining operation prompts speculation about the use of colossal machinery to extract valuable and rare particles embedded deep within the Moon's rocks. Aristarchus crater, with its diverse and abundant resources, emerges as a strategic choice for such activities. The lunar expanse around Aristarchus boasts vast deposits of iron, nickel, aluminum, titanium, uranium, and thorium, making it a potentially lucrative site for extracting essential materials and resources. Swan's vivid descriptions open avenues for exploration and contemplation about the prospect of sophisticated operations taking place on the Moon, challenging conventional perceptions of Earth's celestial neighbor and its role in potential extraterrestrial activities. The lunar landscape, according to various accounts, harbors enigmatic artifacts, peculiar structures, and colossal vehicles that defy conventional explanations. Strange buildings, enormous vehicles, and anomalous markings on the Moon's surface have been reported, prompting a profound question: who, or what, placed them there? The complexity and scale of these lunar anomalies suggest a presence not attributable to human activities. The enigma deepens as irregular moving bands of lights, mysterious symbols, and unexplained ground markings add layers of intrigue to the lunar mystery. It raises the compelling possibility that entities other than humans have been present on the Moon for an extended period. The notion of an enduring and possibly ancient observation of Earth from the Moon introduces a thought-provoking perspective, hinting at the potential for extraterrestrial beings observing our planet for hundreds, if not thousands, of years. The lunar enigma remains a captivating conundrum, challenging our understanding of the Moon's history and its role in the broader cosmic narrative. While the Apollo lunar missions concluded in 1972, the prospect of returning to the Moon is on the horizon, with plans for astronauts to land on the lunar South Pole by 2024. The anticipation of this renewed exploration sparks curiosity about the potential strange discoveries that might await us in this uncharted territory. As the focus shifts back to lunar exploration, it's noteworthy that NASA and the U.S. Department of Energy are actively seeking industry design proposals for a nuclear reactor intended for deployment on the Moon by the end of 2026. The irony of this initiative lies in the historical accounts and speculations surrounding the existence of peculiar structures, potentially including a reactor, on the Moon. The notion that such endeavors might be reattempted prompts reflection on the possibility that there might already be structures or installations on the Moon awaiting rediscovery or exploration. The ongoing saga of lunar mysteries continues to captivate, offering a blend of historical intrigue and future exploration prospects. Spaceship on the Moon. Despite being subject to extensive observation and study, many aspects of our Moon remain shrouded in uncertainty, leaving numerous questions unanswered. Despite its proximity at a distance of 239,000 miles from Earth, the Moon's intricacies and characteristics continue to elude complete understanding. Rather than a simple satellite, it emerges as a celestial body with mysteries that challenge our comprehension despite being the most closely scrutinized object in the solar system. Among the most intriguing enigmas surrounding the Moon is the puzzle of its origin and the mechanisms that brought it to its current orbital position. The prevailing hypothesis posits that the Moon came into existence through a colossal impact between a large celestial body and the early Earth. According to this theory, The ensuing debris from this cosmic collision gradually coalesced in orbit, eventually giving rise to the Moon. However, this narrative prompts us to consider the remarkable notion that the Moon fortuitously assumed its present location in the cosmos. Yet, entertaining the notion of the Moon's fortuitous positioning becomes increasingly challenging when considering the captivating celestial event known as an eclipse. This phenomenon occurs because, although the Sun is approximately 400 times larger than the Moon, it is also conveniently positioned around 400 times farther away from Earth. The remarkable alignment required for the Moon to precisely cover the Sun during an eclipse raises the odds to astronomical proportions, potentially in the realm of billions if not trillions to one. The intricacies of this cosmic ballet invite us to question whether the Moon's placement is a mere coincidence or a product of a more intricate cosmic choreography. The capture theory posits that the Moon was drawn into Earth's orbit due to the gravitational forces exerted by our planet. However, this hypothesis faces a myriad of challenges that cast doubt on its validity. Firstly, the Moon's size, positioned at a considerable distance, raises questions about the feasibility of such a capture event. Additionally, the Moon's orbit, characterized by its specific trajectory, appears inconsistent with what the capture theory would predict. Moreover, the Moon's lack of rotational movement in relation to Earth further complicates the credibility of this hypothesis. In essence, the capture theory encounters obstacles on multiple fronts, leaving us to question its adequacy in explaining the intricate dynamics of the Moon's presence in Earth's celestial neighborhood. This uncertainty prompts many to speculate whether the Moon might have been intentionally positioned by an advanced extraterrestrial civilization. While this question remains unanswerable, intriguing indicators have emerged, hinting at potential extraterrestrial involvement in both the Moon's historical and contemporary activities. The idea that alien forces may have played a role in the Moon's positioning fuels ongoing speculation and investigation into the mysterious aspects of Earth's celestial companion. Since as early as 1968, astronauts have reported witnessing peculiar occurrences on the Moon. Notably, during the Apollo 8 mission, astronauts observed a colossal extraterrestrial spacecraft stationed on the lunar surface. Astonishingly, the enigmatic object had mysteriously vanished when the spacecraft circled the Moon on the subsequent orbit. Allegedly, photographs of the sighting were captured, although these images were purportedly withheld from public view, adding a layer of intrigue to the account of this unexplained lunar encounter. Following the unusual events of Apollo 8, astronauts encountered another perplexing incident just days later. While orbiting a mere 5 kilometers from the Moon, a craft emerged abruptly from a crater, only to vanish inexplicably into thin air. In 1969, during another mission, 2 unidentified objects reportedly approached the lunar module, maintaining close proximity as if monitoring the spacecraft. Strangely, these objects defied the laws of earthly physics by morphing into a singular entity, a feat deemed impossible by conventional standards. Notably, the Apollo 11 mission also entered the annals of lunar encounters, with astronauts witnessing a substantial fleet of unidentified flying objects, UFOs, neatly aligning themselves around one of the Moon's craters, further adding to the enigma surrounding lunar anomalies. It seems that nearly every Apollo mission had its share of encounters with inexplicable and mysterious phenomena, including sightings of objects that defy conventional explanation and glimpses of structures such as ruins and bases that challenge our understanding of the lunar landscape. Sir Patrick Moore, a highly respected astronomer and the longtime host of the BBC science show, The Sky at Night, for over 6 decades, made a striking assertion. He claimed to have identified more than 100 dome-like structures on the Moon, distinguished not only by their unconventional shapes but also by an unusual characteristic: they appear to have materialized after the 1950s. This intriguing detail adds an extra layer of complexity to the enigma surrounding these lunar formations, prompting further questions about their origin and purpose. The absence of any mention of these dome-like structures in pre-1950s astronomy literature raises compelling questions about their origin and purpose. Could these structures be recent additions to the Moon's landscape, appearing mysteriously in the years following the mid-20th century? The possibility that they are affiliated with an undisclosed space program adds another layer of intrigue, suggesting the existence of clandestine lunar activities. Alternatively, the question arises, do these enigmatic structures belong to an external entity, introducing the captivating prospect that we might be sharing the celestial neighborhood with unknown lunar occupants? The unexplained nature of these formations invites speculation and fuels curiosity about the untold chapters of lunar history. The noteworthy sighting by John O'Neill in 1953 deserves special mention. Armed with a 4-inch refractor, O'Neill reported an extraordinary observation: an expansive bridge spanning the western shore of Mare Crisium, measuring approximately 12 miles in length. British astronomer Hugh Percy Wilkins supported O'Neill's account, providing additional validation to this remarkable sighting. However, as is often the unfortunate pattern in such cases, Wilkins faced ridicule after news of his endorsement of O'Neill's observation reached the press. The skepticism surrounding these extraordinary sightings underscores the challenges and controversies that can accompany attempts to share and validate unexplained celestial phenomena. Indeed, the 1950s appear to be a decade marked by intriguing lunar activity. In 1953, Dr. Frank Harris made a noteworthy observation of an immense black object traversing the Moon's surface. According to Harris, this enigmatic anomaly measured an astonishing 300 kilometers in length and 75 kilometers in width. What adds to the mystery is the apparent singularity of this event. Whatever the object was, it has never been witnessed again. The peculiar nature of Dr. Harris's sighting raises questions about the transient and elusive phenomena that may have occurred on the Moon during this period. The Moon's composition stands as a captivating enigma, prompting us to question whether it is simply a celestial body composed solely of rock. Analyses of lunar samples have yielded surprising results, revealing the presence of unexpected elements such as titanium, brass, mica, and even two elements, Neptunium-237 and Uranium-236, that were previously unknown in nature. This departure from conventional expectations raises intriguing possibilities about the Moon's formation and history. Adding to the mystery, astronauts have encountered formidable challenges when attempting to drill just a few inches below the lunar surface. Strikingly, reports from various observers highlight the clear visibility of metal shavings when the drill bit is withdrawn, adding a tangible and perplexing element to the lunar composition puzzle. These anomalies beckon us to reconsider preconceived notions about the Moon's elemental makeup and the potential implications of these unexpected findings. The prevailing belief is that the Moon is a dry celestial body, with scientists asserting that the Sahara Desert contains 100 times more water than the lunar soil. However, this hypothesis has faced persistent challenges, notably through the recurrent observation of clouds in proximity to the Moon's surface. These clouds present an additional layer of peculiarity in the lunar narrative, characterized by their rapid formation and the capacity to extend over vast expanses, covering up to 100 square miles. This unexpected presence of clouds challenges conventional assumptions about the Moon and adds to the array of peculiarities that define our understanding of Earth's closest cosmic companion. A persistent belief suggests that our lunar visits didn't conclude in 1972 but instead continued clandestinely up to the present day. The final official human crewed landing on the Moon occurred on December 11, 1972. Notably, this mission marked a unique milestone as its lunar module pilot, Harrison Schmitt, could proudly assert the distinction of being the first scientist to set foot on the lunar surface. However, beyond the officially recorded missions, conjecture persists about undisclosed lunar activities that may have transpired, fueling speculation about ongoing, covert endeavors on the Moon. In the nearly 50 years since the last recorded moon landing mission, we are informed that no human has set foot on the lunar surface and that none have ventured beyond low Earth orbit. However, in 2007, a former Bell Laboratories employee named William Rutledge made sensational assertions that contradicted this narrative. Rutledge claimed that the moon landing missions did not conclude with Apollo 17. In fact, he asserted that he had actively participated in subsequent lunar landings and even went as far as to claim that he possessed footage as evidence of these clandestine missions. Rutledge's statements opened up a new chapter of speculation, challenging the widely accepted notion that human lunar exploration ceased in the early 1970s. According to Rutledge, 3 additional missions took place, with one purportedly named Apollo 20, or, as suggested by leaked audio, Vandenberg 20. This mission was said to have been launched from Vandenberg Air Force Base in California on August 16, 1976. Its designated destination was Isaac D, situated southwest of Delport crater on the far side of the Moon. Rutledge's claims introduced a clandestine chapter in lunar exploration, challenging the conventional understanding of the Apollo program's conclusion and offering a controversial narrative of undisclosed missions with specific objectives. The alleged Apollo 20 mission, as per Rutledge, represented a collaborative effort between the United States and the Soviet Union. Its primary objective was to investigate an anomaly initially recorded by Apollo 15 astronauts on August 1, 1971, during orbit number 38. Captured from an altitude of 117 kilometers, this anomaly presented an enigma that warranted attention. The peculiarity of this anomaly, coupled with the decision to launch a clandestine mission at considerable expense, raises questions about the nature of the unidentified phenomenon and the significance attached to its investigation by the joint US-Soviet venture. The secrecy surrounding this mission adds an intriguing layer to the narrative of lunar exploration. The image in question, identified as AS-15P9630, reveals a conspicuous cigar-shaped anomaly extending from the shadow of a ridge on the Moon's surface. This peculiar feature stands in stark contrast to the surrounding lunar landscape and has earned the moniker, the Wreckage. The distinctiveness of this object prompts speculation about its origin and nature, with some suggesting the intriguing possibility that it might be an abandoned alien spacecraft. The enigmatic characteristics of this anomaly add a layer of mystery to lunar imagery, fueling ongoing debates about potential extraterrestrial presence or unexplained phenomena on the Moon. The Apollo 20 mission included 3 astronauts, William Rutledge, Leona Snyder, and Alexei Leonov, the first Soviet astronaut to perform a spacewalk. Upon a successful landing on the far side of the Moon, the trio disembarked from the module and commenced filming. The remarkable events that unfolded during their lunar exploration, however, remained shrouded in secrecy. It wasn't until 32 years later that the world gained insight into their discoveries and witnessed their extraordinary footage. A YouTuber named Retired AFB began uploading hours of previously unseen Moon footage, unveiling the long-concealed details of the Apollo 20 mission and captivating audiences with the unexpected revelations from this clandestine lunar expedition. The footage, once revealed, sparked intense debate, particularly within the UFO research community worldwide. Contained within the extensive footage is a flyover of the enigmatic object, accompanied by the intriguing presence of what seems to be ancient ruins strewn across the Moon's surface. The identified object is described as an immense alien spaceship, suggesting a scenario of either a crash or abandonment from a distant era. While this footage alone is captivating, its significance is overshadowed by what was uploaded on April 7 and 8, 2008, promising even more astonishing revelations from the clandestine lunar mission. The focal point of intrigue is the notorious Mona Lisa 16mm film, unveiling a sequence where astronauts are depicted inside the lunar module. Following this, they enter the cigar-shaped object, capturing footage of a remarkably well-preserved female extraterrestrial. The extraterrestrial entity appears to be either deceased or in a state of suspended animation. Rutledge goes further to assert the presence of cryochambers within the confines of the colossal 2.5-mile-long spacecraft, adding another layer of intrigue to the purported discoveries made during the Apollo 20 mission. The enigmatic female discovered measures 5 feet 6 inches in height, presenting an anomaly with 6 fingers on each hand and an absence of apparent nostrils. Intriguingly, she was found connected to the spaceship controls by tubes of an unknown nature. In a bold move, Leonov and Rutledge reportedly detached the body and transported her back to the lunar module. Upon closer examination, Rutledge observed dust coverings on the vessel, leading him to estimate that the spacecraft may have been resting on the Moon's surface for as long as 1.5 billion years. Notably, signs of prior investigations were evident, suggesting that the Apollo 20 astronauts were not the first to explore this ancient and mysterious lunar artifact. The intriguing footage eventually captured the interest of Luca Scantamburlo, an Italian UFO researcher. Despite his fascination, Scantamburlo maintained a high level of skepticism and opted to submit the footage to Italian video analysis experts. Surprisingly, their conclusions affirmed the authenticity of the footage. Following this revelation, Scantamburlo reached out to Rutledge for an interview through email correspondence. During the interview, Rutledge exhibited a profound understanding of geology, chemistry, and space travel. His use of technical terms and specific details impressed Scantamburlo, who believed that Rutledge's demonstrated knowledge lent credibility to the remarkable story surrounding the Apollo 20 mission. Rutledge's testimony provides a vivid account of their experiences upon entering the spaceship. The interior revealed an ancient, time-worn vessel that had traversed the universe for at least 1 billion years. Within, signs of biology were evident, such as triangular-shaped rocks emitting a yellow substance. Remnants of vegetation were also observed in the motor section, painting a surreal picture of the spacecraft's storied journey through the cosmos and the intriguing biological elements it carried within its ancient confines. There were extrasolar creatures, measuring just 10 centimeters high, living in a network of glass tubes that ran along the ship's interior. But our significant discovery came when we found 2 bodies, one still intact. Within the ship's interior, the exploration revealed the presence of extrasolar creatures, diminutive beings measuring merely 10 centimeters in height, inhabiting a network of glass tubes intricately arranged throughout the spacecraft. However, the most significant discovery occurred when they encountered 2 bodies, one of which remained remarkably intact. Describing the intact body, later identified as Mona Lisa, Rutledge detailed a humanoid female measuring 1.65 meters in height. This extraterrestrial entity possessed hair and 6 fingers on each hand, appearing to function as the pilot with a device attached to both fingers and eyes. Rutledge recounted the meticulous process of detaching 2 cables connected to the nose. Despite the extended period of abandonment on the Moon, the body remained in surprisingly good condition. Notably, the skin seemed to be safeguarded by a thin, mysterious layer of protection, the composition of which remains unknown. The second body discovered within the spaceship exhibited a pale blue hue and featured peculiar markings around the eyes. Inside the cockpit, unusual markings adorned the surroundings, taking the form of long hexagonal shapes, adding an element of mystery to the extraterrestrial environment. In the final footage uploaded by Rutledge, the focus shifts to the controls of the space capsule. Strikingly similar to the Apollo 17 controls, the only discernible difference lies in the presence of both the American and Russian flags on the flag emblem, in contrast to the singular American flag. This subtle but significant alteration in the emblem hints at the collaborative nature of the purported Apollo 20 mission, intertwining elements from both American and Russian space programs. Despite the conclusions drawn by the Italian film expert, skepticism continues to surround the authenticity of the footage. Such skepticism is a natural response, yet for some, the footage serves as compelling evidence supporting the idea that we are not alone in the vastness of the universe. Luca Scantamburlo asserts a connection between Rutledge's spaceship and the anomaly observed during Apollo 15. Whether or not they are one and the same, the original images captured by Apollo 15 undeniably depict something significant resting on the edge of a lunar crater. These intricacies, among others, contribute to the Moon maintaining its reputation as the most enigmatic celestial object in our solar system, inviting ongoing speculation and intrigue. Moon base within our vast solar system, there exists a celestial ballet of over 200 natural satellites or moons. These cosmic companions, each with its own unique characteristics, often bear names inspired by the rich tapestry of Greek mythology. However, amidst this diverse lunar landscape, Earth's own natural satellite stands out as the 5th largest among them all. Remarkably, rather than adopting a mythological moniker, it is simply known as the Moon. Composed of a combination of metal and rock, the Moon boasts a barren landscape devoid of a substantial atmosphere, and its surface bears the scars of numerous craters resulting from impactful collisions with sizable objects. As the second most radiant entity in the sky, surpassed only by the Sun, The moon graces our nights with its luminous presence, easily visible to the naked eye. Despite its familiar face, there exists a concealed aspect known as the dark side, a mysterious hemisphere perpetually hidden from our view, adding an enigmatic layer to Earth's celestial neighbor. The moon's captivating phenomenon of asynchronous rotation dictates that it synchronizes its orbital and rotational periods, ensuring it completes one orbit around the Earth in the same duration it takes to complete a single axial spin. This intricate celestial choreography results in a constant presentation of one face toward Earth, leaving the other side veiled in perpetual secrecy. Adding a touch of dynamic complexity, the moon's subtle libration or wobbling motion introduces a fascinating dimension to this cosmic ballet. As a consequence of these celestial intricacies, approximately 41% of the moon's surface remains perpetually concealed, shrouded in the enigmatic allure of its uncharted dark side. It's essential to dispel a common misconception: the term dark side can be misleading. In reality, this uncharted hemisphere receives an equal share of sunlight as its illuminated counterpart. The designation as the dark side is a product of our historical inability to observe it directly for thousands of years, contributing to an air of mystery and intrigue. Consequently, it serves as a sanctuary for the unknown, a realm where potential activities unfold away from human scrutiny. This obscured lunar expanse, free from the prying eyes of humanity, becomes a canvas for speculation about what secrets or phenomena might be concealed within its shadowed embrace. Driven by inherent curiosity, human ingenuity triumphed over the lunar mystery in 1959 when the Soviet Union launched Luna 3. This groundbreaking spacecraft not only circled the moon but also wielded the capability to capture images of its elusive dark side. Equipped with both wide-angle and telephoto lenses, Luna 3 captured 29 photographs of the far side, transmitting them back to Earth. Despite the grainy and poor-quality nature of these early images, they marked a historic revelation, providing humanity with a glimpse into the hidden lunar realm. The visual narrative painted by Luna 3 portrayed a seemingly lifeless expanse of craters, mirroring the lunar landscape visible from Earth but also laying the foundation for future lunar exploration and scientific inquiry. Advancements in technology propelled lunar exploration to new heights, culminating in the historic achievement of Lunar Orbiter 4 on May 8, 1967. This robotic explorer, navigating a polar orbit around the Moon, surpassed its predecessors by capturing remarkably detailed images of the Moon's concealed side. Approximately 18 months later, on December 22, 1968, the Apollo 8 mission marked a pivotal moment in human exploration. Astronauts Frank Borman, James Lovell, and William Anders became the first humans to gaze upon the Moon's dark side with unaided eyes. During a live telecast, Lovell offered a vivid description, depicting the hidden lunar landscape as essentially gray, no color. Like plaster of Paris or some sort of grayish beach sand. This direct human observation added a personal dimension to our understanding of the Moon's mysterious far side, complementing the wealth of data acquired through robotic missions. The fusion of technological innovation and human exploration unraveled the secrets of the dark side, transforming it from an enigmatic expanse into a tangible frontier for scientific exploration. Despite early reports characterizing the Moon's dark side as an ostensibly dull and lifeless terrain, primarily adorned with countless impact craters, an unexpected twist emerged during the Apollo 8 television broadcast on December 22, 1968. A cryptic phrase uttered by astronaut James Lovell captured the public's imagination: confirmation that Santa Claus does exist. Intriguingly, over 6 decades later, some researchers, particularly those delving into the realms of extraterrestrial exploration, contend that this seemingly whimsical statement might be more than mere festive banter. According to these theorists, the phrase is interpreted as coded language, suggesting that Lovell was alluding to the existence of an alien base situated on the far side of the Moon. This speculative perspective injects an air of mystery into what was initially perceived as an unremarkable lunar landscape, transforming the dark side into a potential epicenter for clandestine extraterrestrial activity, according to proponents of this intriguing hypothesis. Interestingly, the enigmatic phrase, confirmation that Santa Claus does exist, made its debut over 5 years earlier, uttered by Walter Schirra during the Mercury 8 mission. However, at that time, Schirra's comments went largely unnoticed by the general public. In the contemporary era, technological strides have granted us unprecedented access to the once elusive dark side of the Moon. Detailed topographic maps of this hidden lunar realm are now readily available for download, allowing for meticulous scrutiny of its prominent features. Despite these advancements, the mystique surrounding the dark side persists, and it hasn't entirely shed its status as one of the solar system's intriguing mysteries. Numerous researchers assert that the shadowed expanse harbors unexplained features and anomalies, keeping the dark side of the Moon firmly entrenched as a captivating frontier for those seeking to unravel the secrets concealed within Earth's celestial companion. Despite the wealth of information now at our fingertips, the allure of the unknown continues to beckon scientists and enthusiasts alike to explore and decipher the mysteries lingering in the lunar shadows. Formally, the curtain fell on American lunar exploration with the culmination of Apollo 17 in 1972. Despite having missions 18, 19, and 20 on the drawing board, NASA surprisingly declared the conclusion of human crewed moon landings. The abrupt halt to the Apollo missions did little to quell persistent suspicions regarding what might truly exist up there. Numerous researchers have seized upon this turning point, positing that it marked the juncture at which we began to comprehend that the Moon might not be exclusively ours but rather the domain of a vastly superior extraterrestrial civilization. This perspective, suggesting lunar ownership by an advanced extraterrestrial presence, has endured, casting a shadow of speculation over the termination of manned moon missions. The cessation of lunar exploration by humans, rather than dispelling mysteries, has fueled a persistent undercurrent of conjecture and inquiry into the possibility of hidden lunar secrets and the potential existence of extraterrestrial entities with a vested interest in Earth's celestial neighbor. The notion that extraterrestrial entities, quite possibly originating from another solar system distant from our own, engage in activities and observation of Earth and its inhabitants has given rise to the hypothesis that a strategic base may exist in proximity to our planet. What better clandestine location for such a base than the dark side of the Moon? According to various whistleblowers, including William Cooper, a former high-ranking U.S. intelligence officer, characterizing it as a mere base would be a substantial understatement. Cooper advanced the belief that the purported lunar installation is not just a base but an expansive complex with a far-reaching purpose. In his perspective, the complex serves as a hub for gathering and analyzing comprehensive information about our planet. The Moon's concealed side, shielded from direct observation, becomes an ideal vantage point for extraterrestrial intelligence to clandestinely observe and collect data about Earth, as suggested by Cooper and other proponents of this intriguing hypothesis. Adding another layer to the intrigue, William Cooper testified under oath that the United States government possessed knowledge about extraterrestrial spaceships approaching Earth and the existence of an extraterrestrial complex on the Moon. A pivotal moment in this context occurred on May 3, 1994, with the deployment of the $200 million Clementine satellite, which seamlessly entered the Moon's orbit, capturing a staggering 1.8 million images. What made this mission even more captivating was its collaborative nature. It wasn't solely a NASA endeavor but a joint mission with the United States Department of Defense. The inclusion of the Department of Defense raised immediate questions. Why was the military interested in lunar exploration? The enigma surrounding the dual-purpose mission deepened the mystery, prompting speculation about hidden agendas and undisclosed objectives related to lunar activities. To this day, a substantial number of images captured by the Clementine satellite have been kept classified and shrouded in secrecy, raising questions about the need for such confidentiality regarding a seemingly lifeless lunar landscape. Even with advancements in technology, the limited release of images deviates from expectations of transparency. Adding an extra layer of intrigue, the publicly disclosed images from Clementine showcase perplexing anomalies on the Moon's dark side, including structures like domes, towers, and massive buildings. The scale and nature of these anomalies are inconsistent with the conventional understanding of the lunar landscape. Compounding the mystery, some images exhibit smudged areas and missing data, further fueling speculation about concealed information. The question becomes unavoidable. If these anomalies are present in the released images, what might the classified ones contain? What undisclosed revelations might be hidden within the unreleased photographs? And why is the public barred from accessing this information? The enigma surrounding these lunar images deepens, inviting curiosity and prompting contemplation about what secrets might be safeguarded within the classified data. In the 1990s, former U.S. Air Force Sergeant Carl Wolf, functioning as a whistleblower, unveiled startling information about the presence of a lunar base. During his tenure at Langley Field, Virginia, where data from the Lunar Orbiter project was processed and converted into photographic images, Wolf was granted access to compelling visual evidence. The photographs showcased a prominent complex on the lunar surface, revealing an array of structures that included towers, spherical buildings, and mushroom-shaped constructions. Wolf's revelations added a testimonial dimension to the growing body of claims surrounding potential lunar anomalies and extraterrestrial structures, further intensifying the debate about what might truly exist on the Moon. Despite previous claims of an extraterrestrial base near the lunar South Pole, recent findings suggest that it might no longer exist, adding a layer of mystery to its potential disappearance. Researchers often point to events initiated on June 18, 2009 to unravel the fate of this alleged extraterrestrial installation. Over 12 years ago, NASA launched a consequential dual mission featuring a probe known as the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter and a smaller spacecraft named LCROSS. This mission aimed to delve into the lunar mysteries and shed light on various aspects of the Moon's composition and history. The launch of these spacecraft marked a significant chapter in lunar exploration, prompting questions about whether subsequent investigations might have influenced the status of the purported lunar base and, if so, what factors contributed to its potential alteration or disappearance. The primary mission of the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter was clear: to meticulously map the lunar surface. However, the smaller spacecraft, LCROSS, embarked on a rather peculiar mission. Its programmed objective was to deliberately crash into the expansive Cabeus crater, which spans 60 miles in diameter at the lunar South Pole. Executing this mission with precision, LCROSS collided with the lunar surface on October 9, 2009, hurtling its upper stage Centaur rocket into the crater floor at an astonishing speed of over 5,000 miles per hour. This deliberate impact was designed to unravel critical information about the lunar composition, particularly in the context of potential water ice deposits hidden within the crater's depths. To this day, fervent debates persist regarding the true nature of the impact on the Moon and the actual target of the mission. Officially, the mission's purpose was to identify the presence of water, a vital element in understanding lunar composition. However, some researchers point to a blurred-out area prominently visible in numerous images, asserting that this obscured region was the real target. Allegedly, it was the location of the supposed alien base. The ongoing discourse raises questions about the evidence supporting such claims, prompting a continued exploration of the enigmatic aspects surrounding the lunar impact and the possibility of undisclosed lunar anomalies. The intriguing twist in the narrative comes from an unlikely source: NASA itself. In an interview with project scientists Anthony Colaprete and Dr. Kim Eniko of the Ames Research Center, anomaly hunters stumbled upon what appears to be a satellite image of the designated area. This image revealed strikingly precise geometric shapes that defy easy classification as natural formations. The clarity of these shapes has sparked heightened curiosity and intensified discussions among researchers as they scrutinize the apparent evidence presented in a NASA interview, adding a layer of mystery to the ongoing exploration of the lunar anomalies. Upon closer examination of the photo, positioned just beneath the arm of the scientists to the left, what might initially appear as a nondescript smudged-out area unveils a more intricate narrative. This particular image captures the Centaur rocket payload target within the Cabeus crater. However, upon closer scrutiny, distinctive features emerge, including what seems to resemble a square rectangle formation, accompanied by nearby V-shaped structures. The question inevitably arises: could these formations be indicative of intelligently built structures on the Moon? The revelation adds a captivating dimension to the discussion, intensifying the speculation about potential artificial constructs within the lunar landscape. The image, rather than dispelling rumors, only adds fuel to the speculations surrounding the payload's intended target. The presence of what is presumed to be a moon base raises eyebrows, as the secrecy surrounding such information seems inconsistent with its inadvertent exposure on a desk for public scrutiny. NASA offered an explanation, asserting that the image is a 3D model of the Cabeus crater and its surroundings. However, upon closer inspection, it becomes evident that this is not an accurate 3D representation. Instead, it appears to be an image captured during an earlier mission, as discernible shadows betray their two-dimensional nature. NASA contends that the anomaly is a grid overlaid onto the picture. Still, when they provided a photo with the grid, it bore no resemblance to the enigmatic anomaly beneath Anthony Colaprete's elbow. The explanation falls short, especially when considering the stark disparity between a grid and the seemingly artificial structures, including a triangular shape nearby. The incongruities in NASA's explanation only deepen the mystery surrounding this lunar anomaly. The intrigue surrounding the lunar impact deepens as thermal images captured before the collision reveal a perplexing anomaly, distinctive signs of heat emanating from the edges of the Cabeus crater. This revelation raises baffling questions. Why is thermal imaging detecting heat in a location presumed to be an extremely frigid -238 degrees Celsius, colder than liquid nitrogen and close to absolute zero? The legitimacy of the live coverage during the impact event has also been brought under scrutiny. While purportedly providing live footage of the collision, viewers noted peculiarities that cast doubt on the authenticity of the broadcast. Instead of a dynamic live view, the presentation resembled a camera zooming in on a two-dimensional image. Significantly, the perspective remained unchanged until the abrupt moment when the screen went blank. Adding to the skepticism, many anomaly hunters assert that as the camera drew closer to the impact site, the image became increasingly blurred, a phenomenon consistent with what one would expect when zooming in on a fixed 2D image. These discrepancies in the live coverage and thermal imaging contribute to the ongoing debate, stirring further speculation about the true nature of the lunar impact mission. Adding to the intrigue, NASA made a rather abrupt and unexplained alteration to the impact location, shifting it from Cabeus A to Cabeus merely 6 weeks before the scheduled mission. This change, devoid of a clear rationale, raises eyebrows and deepens the mystery surrounding the mission's planning. Further anomalies emerge when scrutinizing the aftermath of the impact. Despite the world's most powerful telescopes trained on the closest observable regions, no discernible plume was detected. The live broadcast itself presents a conspicuous absence of any visible plume, and even the Hubble Space Telescope failed to register any signs of the anticipated lunar disturbance. This absence of expected phenomena has led to speculation, with some suggesting that the payload may have been disarmed, potentially by an unknown entity within the confines of the Cabeus crater. These peculiar circumstances only contribute to the enigma surrounding the lunar impact mission and the unexplained events that unfolded on the Moon. The events of that day leave a multitude of questions unanswered, and uncertainty shrouds the true nature and purpose of the lunar impact mission. Was the mission strategically devised to disable an alleged extraterrestrial base? Alternatively, as some conjecture, could it have been orchestrated to eliminate any trace of our own lunar base? Another theory posits that the mission's true objective was to convey to potential lunar inhabitants our capability to disrupt and potentially destroy their bases. Whatever the case may be, the lingering enigma suggests that the dark side of the Moon conceals elements beyond the scope of our imagination. The tantalizing possibilities, ranging from hidden extraterrestrial installations to covert human lunar endeavors, underscore the mysteries that continue to surround our celestial neighbor. The quest for answers persists, inviting speculation and fueling a fascination with the unknown lunar landscape and its potential secrets. Artificial Moon. Despite the multitude of landings, probes, and continuous observation by astronomers globally, the Moon persists as a celestial enigma. Its dimensions are intriguingly precise, with a size that is precisely 200 times smaller than the Sun and a proximity that is 200 times closer to Earth than the Sun. This alignment results in a captivating visual symmetry, as both the Sun and the Moon appear to be of comparable size from our vantage point on Earth, giving rise to the breathtaking phenomena of solar and lunar eclipses. The remarkable synchronization of these factors suggests a level of cosmic intricacy that goes beyond mere happenstance, particularly when considered alongside the Moon's peculiar orbit, adding an extra layer of mystery to our celestial companion. This intriguing scenario prompts contemplation. Has the Moon genuinely graced the Earth's night sky for the entirety of the planet's 4.5 billion-year existence, or could its presence be a more recent, intentional addition? While these queries may initially strike as unconventional, they have been pondered by some of the most eminent minds in literature and science. The notion of a time when Earth experienced moonless nights, as proposed by numerous esteemed scholars, injects a layer of complexity into our understanding of the cosmic narrative. Consider the reflections of the venerable ancient Greek philosopher and polymath, Aristotle, whose enduring influence spans the realms of politics, psychology, and ethics. In the 4th century BC, Aristotle delved into the topic of Arcadia, expressing a belief in a bygone era when the Moon was conspicuously absent from the night sky. His words, captured in historical texts, convey the notion that preceding the Hellenic era, the land was inhabited by indigenous people, known as the proselenes in Greek, signifying those before the Moon. Aristotle's musings on a pre-lunar epoch add an intriguing layer to the long-standing discourse on the celestial history of Earth. Consider the insights of Apollonius of Rhodes, a distinguished Greek mathematician whose contributions significantly shaped the evolution of mathematics. In the 3rd century BC, Apollonius wrote of a celestial state where not all heavenly bodies adorned the skies. During this era, only the Arcadians were said to inhabit the Earth, dwelling upon mountains and subsisting on acorns in a time that preceded the lunar presence. This depiction, offered by a luminary in the field of mathematics, provides another historical perspective suggesting a period when the Moon was conspicuously absent from Earth's nocturnal panorama. Delve into the writings of Democritus, the ancient Greek philosopher who stands as a pivotal figure in the advancement of philosophical atomism and the formulation of the atomic theory of the universe. In the 3rd century BC, Democritus contributed to the discourse on the celestial past, detailing an epoch when the Moon remained absent from the nightly expanse. Fast forward to the 16th century, and we encounter the visionary Italian scientist and philosopher Giordano Bruno, a luminary ahead of his time. In a testament to his forward-thinking perspective, Bruno asserted that the Arcadians, inhabitants not far from the Po, predated the lunar presence. Bruno's assertion, made during the Renaissance, aligns with earlier reflections by ancient philosophers, adding weight to the intriguing proposition of a moonless era in Earth's cosmic history. Indeed, the annals of antiquity are replete with narratives from a multitude of venerable scribes, spanning centuries and cultures, all alluding to an epoch when the Moon's luminous presence was conspicuously absent. Noteworthy figures such as Anaxagoras in the 5th century BC, Ovid in the 1st century BC, Plutarch also in the 1st century BC, Lucianos in the 2nd century AD, Hippolytus in the 3rd century AD, and Stephanus of Byzantium in the 6th century AD, all contributed to this intriguing discourse on a moonless sky. Adding an archaeological dimension to this historical tapestry, the Kalasasaya temple at Tiahuanaco, Bolivia, provides tangible evidence. Symbols etched on its walls assert that the Moon assumed its orbit around the Earth within the time frame of 11,500 to 13,000 years ago, corroborating the ancient writings and imbuing the narrative with a convergence of textual and archaeological support. The collective accounts and symbolic inscriptions invite contemplation on the celestial dynamics that have shaped Earth's nocturnal canvas over millennia. The rich oral traditions of ancient tribes in the Colombian Bogotá highlands contribute to the expansive tapestry of accounts echoing a primordial era when the Moon remained conspicuously absent from the celestial expanse. Across generations, these tribes have preserved a collective memory that harks back to the most ancient times when the Moon was not yet seen in the heavens, underscoring a shared narrative that transcends time. In the corridors of modern inquiry, writers and scientists have also ventured into the enigma of the Moon's origin. A notable example is found in the words of Dr. Gordon MacDonald, a NASA scientist, who, in 1962, offered a thought-provoking perspective. If the astronomical data are reduced, it is affirmed that the interior of the Moon is less dense than the outer parts. Indeed, the Moon is more like a hollow sphere. This contemplation on the Moon's internal composition adds a contemporary layer to the age-old mystery, prompting further exploration into the celestial mechanics that have shaped our lunar companion. In the realm of astronomical contemplation, Carl Sagan, the renowned astronomer, presented a thought-provoking assertion in his 1965 treatise, Intelligent Life in the Universe. Sagan postulated that the Moon might defy the conventional definition of a natural satellite due to its potential hollowness, challenging the notion of it being a typical celestial companion. Isaac Asimov, in his 1974 work, Asimov on Astronomy, added another layer to the lunar enigma by pondering the Moon's peculiar placement. He queried, "The Moon is too far out to be an actual satellite of Earth, and it is too big to have been captured by the Earth. What in the heck is our Moon doing way out there anyway?" Asimov's inquiry underscores the cosmic perplexity surrounding the Moon's origin and orbital dynamics. Further fueling the intrigue, scientist Erwin I. Shapiro of the Harvard-Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics offered a provocative perspective, stating, "Looking at all the oddities and unanswered questions about the Moon, the best description for the Moon is an observational error. It doesn't exist." Shapiro's bold assertion invites a reconsideration of our understanding of the Moon, challenging conventional wisdom and prompting a re-evaluation of the lunar mysteries that persist in the scientific discourse. The question of how the Moon came to occupy its celestial abode has spurred diverse speculations, including some intriguing and unconventional theories. Among these, a hypothesis proposes that the Moon was not a conventional natural satellite but, rather, a colossal space station. According to this line of thinking, the Moon could have been strategically maneuvered into its current position, serving as a substantial transport vessel that facilitated the arrival of both humans and divine beings to seed the Earth with life. While these theories may diverge significantly from mainstream scientific explanations, some researchers argue that they may hold merit in certain aspects. The notion of the Moon as a celestial space station, doubling as a transportation hub for cosmic seeding, challenges traditional narratives and encourages a broader exploration of the Moon's origins and its potential role in shaping the history of Earth and its inhabitants. As scientific understanding evolves, these unconventional perspectives contribute to the ongoing quest to unravel the mysteries of our celestial companion. Contemplating the absence of the Moon in Earth's past prompts speculation about the potential presence of another celestial body fulfilling similar functions. Intriguingly, etchings on the calendar gate at Kailasasaya Temple hint at the existence of a smaller satellite that may have once orbited the Earth. This perspective suggests a reconsideration of the cosmic luminaries that illuminated ancient skies. In alignment with this notion, the Mayans propose an alternative celestial emissary, positing that Venus, not the Moon, cast its radiant glow upon them. The calendar gate inscriptions allude to the possibility that Venus played a significant role in their cosmic observations and cultural symbolism. Adding a layer of complexity, ancient Greek references to pre-lunar inhabitants, coupled with their mention of living before the birth of Jove, Jupiter, stand out as noteworthy. While scholars have entertained the idea of a moonless Earth, the connection to Sumerian gods remains largely unexplored. This intriguing intersection invites further exploration into the potential cosmic interplay that shaped the ancient world and the various celestial entities that may have influenced human perceptions and mythologies. The emergence of the Sumerians, a remarkably advanced civilization that seemingly rose abruptly around 6,000 years ago, has long intrigued historians. Their mythology, intricately detailing interactions with advanced beings from the stars, adds a layer of mystery to their rapid ascendancy in the ancient world. Considering the potential timeframe of a moonless Earth, intriguing parallels emerge with the era when Homo erectus traversed the planet. These ancient hominins, reminiscent of the Akkadians described by classical writers, roamed Earth, dwelling in mountainous regions, and sustaining themselves with a diet that included acorns. The convergence of these narratives suggests a nuanced connection between prehistoric human populations and celestial events, prompting contemplation about the role of cosmic influences in the development of ancient civilizations and cultures. In an intriguing turn of ancient mythology, the Sumerian deity Enki engaged in a profound exploration of genetic material. Drawing comparisons between his own DNA and that of Homo erectus, often identified with the Akkadians in classical narratives, Enki discerned striking similarities. Following numerous unsuccessful attempts, he eventually achieved success in a groundbreaking endeavor, the creation of what we recognize as the first modern human. This narrative, part of a more extensive and captivating story, serves as a precursor to the extraordinary ascent of Sumeria. It unfolds as a mythological account of genetic manipulation and the emergence of a new, advanced human form, laying the foundation for the rise of the Sumerian civilization. The ancient tale intertwines divine intervention with the origins of humanity, offering a unique perspective on the enigmatic roots of one of history's most advanced civilizations. According to the beliefs of African Zulu shaman Credo Mutwa, the moon carries a mysterious origin story. As per Mutwa, Wawain and Mpanku, two extraterrestrial brothers, are attributed with hollowing out the moon and transporting it to Earth. The celestial journey involved rolling the moon across the sky, a process that, according to Mutwa, triggered cataclysmic events, marking the end of a fabled golden age from the distant past. Drawing intriguing parallels, these extraterrestrial siblings bear resemblance to the ancient Sumerian deities Enki and Enlil. In Mutwa's narrative, the lunar manipulation by Wawain and Mpanku signifies a pivotal moment in Earth's history, intertwining celestial events with the fate of humanity. The cross-cultural connections between Zulu mythology and ancient Sumerian lore provide a fascinating lens through which to explore the varied interpretations of cosmic phenomena and their impact on human existence. The Japanese creation myth introduces the divine figures Izanagi and Izanami, who, in an intriguing parallel to other ancient narratives, assign the daughter the celestial role of becoming the moon. This myth carries echoes of both Zulu and Sumerian scriptures, weaving together a diverse tapestry of cultural interpretations. Contemplating the Sumerian cosmology, a compelling hypothesis arises. Could the moon have arrived alongside the Sumerian gods, serving as their enigmatic base or home away from home? According to Sumerian lore, these deities were considered watchers in the celestial expanse surrounding Earth, implying a vantage point from which they could observe everything while maintaining a measure of privacy from the human realm below. This speculative connection between the moon, the Sumerian gods, and their role as cosmic overseers prompts contemplation about the potential significance of the moon in ancient celestial narratives and the multifaceted roles it may have played in shaping the beliefs of diverse cultures. Sumerian texts offer a fascinating perspective, suggesting that the labor of Enki and Ninki was carried out at a location beyond Earth, a notion that aligns with the possibility of the moon being the site in question. Strengthening this proposition, ancient traditions attribute the initiation of moon worship to Adam, the first man. This association adds another layer of evidence to support the idea that the moon could indeed be considered a significant birthplace and the realm of acknowledged creators. Delving into the narrative, there's a tantalizing conjecture. Could the moon have been the destination where Enoch pursued his education? This intriguing possibility adds a cosmic dimension to the story of Enoch, hinting at a celestial academy or learning center situated on the lunar surface. The interconnected threads of Sumerian texts, ancient traditions, and the tales of Enoch collectively contribute to a speculative yet captivating exploration of the moon's potential role in the celestial history of humanity. The legendary Tower of Babel has been mythologized as a symbol of humanity's ambitious pursuit of technological greatness, an endeavor to construct a building that could reach into the heavens. Some interpretations even suggest that this collective effort aimed to extend human reach into outer space, potentially even building a bridge to the moon, considered the closest heavenly body. Delving into lunar mysteries, NASA's observations have revealed intriguing disparities between the moon's near and far sides. The dark side, often unseen from Earth, boasts a landscape riddled with more craters and less of the smooth, dark mare typically visible. This stark contrast in terrain has sparked speculative theories, including one proposing an interstellar conflict that may have unfolded between figures like Enki and Enlil. The notion suggests that these lunar disparities could be remnants of a cosmic battle, leaving an enduring imprint on the celestial body closest to our home planet. The enigma of what lies within the Moon persists, prompting contemplation about whether it is merely the remnants of an ancient space station or if it still harbors functionality today. Speculations about the Moon's current purpose abound, leaving room for inquiry into whether it serves as a covert observation post. Dr. Douglas Vakoch, president of METI, has even likened the potential presence of extraterrestrials on the Moon to humans observing animals in a zoo, an analogy that adds an intriguing layer to the mystery. The mysterious 2 minutes of missing audio, as captured by ham radio operators, fuels speculation that something clandestine might be happening on the lunar surface. This unexplained silence hints at the possibility of a deliberate effort to conceal activities or communications, sparking curiosity about who or what might be behind the intentional silencing of signals. These cryptic facets of lunar exploration continue to fuel speculation and invite further exploration into the potential role of the Moon in clandestine observations or activities. During the historic moonwalk by Buzz Aldrin and Neil Armstrong, an intriguing event unfolded. Armstrong, in a surprising move, abruptly switched to a different communication channel, engaging in a direct conversation with the chief officer. This unconventional shift in communication channels is believed to be the reason behind the puzzling omission of 2 minutes of audio from the original recordings of the Apollo mission. The clandestine nature of this channel switch has fueled speculation about what transpired during those crucial 2 minutes on the lunar surface. The mystery surrounding this intentional deviation from the recorded communication adds an element of intrigue to the Apollo mission, prompting questions about what information or events might have prompted Armstrong to alter his communication approach during this historic moment. In a moment that veered from the scripted communication, the Apollo 11 astronauts conveyed an astonishing encounter to mission control while on the lunar surface. The conversation unveiled a startling revelation. Colossal and gigantic ships were observed on the Moon, and a sense of awe and disbelief permeated their voices. The astronauts described these unidentified crafts as being positioned on the lunar far side, lined up along the edge of a crater. Adding a layer of credibility to this extraordinary account, astronaut Buzz Aldrin took numerous photographs of the enigmatic scene, with some images subsequently published in the June 1975 issue of Modern People magazine. Corroborating these claims are statements from individuals such as former aerospace designer William Tompkins, Apollo Moon Program consultant pilot Ken Johnston Sr., and renowned researcher Timothy Good. Maurice Chatelain, a retired NASA communications engineer involved in developing communication systems for the Apollo missions, also lends support to the account, creating a tapestry of eyewitness testimony that challenges conventional narratives of lunar exploration. Maurice Chatelain, a retired NASA communications engineer, made even more astounding claims, asserting that space vehicles of extraterrestrial origin closely trailed both Apollo and Gemini flights. These unconventional escorts were reportedly observed both from a distance and, at times, in close proximity. According to Chatelain, each time these extraterrestrial encounters occurred, astronauts promptly informed mission control, which responded by issuing directives for complete silence on the matter. Expanding on this theme, Dr. Edgar Mitchell, the sixth person to walk on the Moon, offered even more profound insights. Dr. Mitchell boldly declared that extraterrestrial visitors have been coming to Earth for an extended period. His statement, "We are not alone in the universe. I just happen to be lucky enough to be in on the fact that the phenomenon is real," underscores a first-hand account from an astronaut deeply involved in lunar exploration, adding a compelling dimension to the discourse on potential extraterrestrial interactions during historic space missions. Dr. John Brandenburg, the deputy manager of the Clementine mission to the Moon, has provided intriguing insights into a potentially undisclosed agenda behind the mission. According to Dr. Brandenburg, Clementine embarked on a photo reconnaissance mission with the explicit purpose of determining whether any bases were being constructed on the Moon. His revelation adds a layer of mystery to the mission, suggesting a covert exploration driven by concerns within the space defense community. Expressing unease, Dr. Brandenburg emphasized that the discovery of such structures on the Moon raises significant concerns, as these constructions are not of human origin. The implication is that someone else may be actively involved in lunar activities, prompting heightened scrutiny and sparking questions about the nature and intentions of these extraterrestrial or non-human lunar presences. George Leonard, a photoanalyst, made significant claims based on his examination of official NASA photographs, revealing what he asserted to be structures on the Moon. These findings were compiled and presented in his book, Somebody Else is on the Moon, shedding light on alleged anomalies captured in the lunar imagery. Adding to the intrigue, India's Chandrayaan-1 lunar orbiter reportedly identified underground tunnels on the Moon's dark side. While these formations are likely the result of lava flow tubes that created an extensive system of caves, some speculate about the potential for these subterranean spaces to be inhabited by living beings. This revelation underscores the ongoing fascination and exploration of the Moon's surface, revealing not only geological phenomena but also raising questions about the possibility of hidden structures and life in the lunar depths. The willingness of numerous respected individuals to speak out on these matters, often at the risk of their professional reputations, suggests that there may be substance to the claims surrounding lunar mysteries and potential extraterrestrial interactions. Their collective voices contribute to a growing narrative that extends beyond conventional explanations, prompting a re-evaluation of our understanding of lunar exploration. Regarding the Sumerian god Angle, the connections to this intricate story run deeper, with many more threads waiting to be unraveled. Our current exploration has only scratched the surface of the enigmatic ties between ancient mythologies, lunar phenomena, and potential extraterrestrial involvement. The layers of this narrative, woven across cultures and time, invite further inquiry into the cosmic tapestry that may hold the key to unlocking hidden truths about our celestial companion and our place in the broader cosmic context.